now that you've got to your house or wherever you're having your party, you've noticed it came with your bounce house, your blower, and your 4 stakes. You're gonna need to provide your own hammer or some way to pound the stakes in. And if your outlet is not going to be within 20 feet of where your bouncer is gonna be set up, you might need an extension cord. One thing that's really important is make sure that your extension cord is nice and thick, at least the same size as the cord on the blower, if not a little bit bigger. So now we're to the fun part. We're gonna unroll our bounce house and inflate it. We're always going to be rolling the bounce house towards our party. So for instance, we're gonna be out back here on the patio, and that's where all of our guests are gonna be. So as we unroll the bounce house, we're gonna roll it towards the party, and once it inflates, the front of the bounce house is gonna be facing the party. So to get started, you're gonna undo the 1 or 2 straps that's on your bouncer, and you're gonna unroll it, and then you're gonna unfold it. Now you're gonna wanna pay really close attention at this point, because once you go to roll it back up and return it, you're gonna wanna know how it unfolded so you can fold it back up the same way and get it nice and compact like this when you bring it back. Now that you've got the bounce house laid out flat, you're gonna wanna come to the back of the bounce house and you're gonna notice that there's gonna be 2 trunks, all right? You're only gonna need to use one of those to hook a blower up to. Now, since our power is gonna be coming from over there, we're gonna hook our blower to the side closest to the garage where we're gonna get our power. And this extra blower is gonna be used when we tear it down. So until then, we're gonna twist it, fold it in half, and use this strap that comes on it, and you're gonna tie it to itself to make sure that no air can escape. Make sure it's very tight. All right, so the next thing you're gonna look for is on every bounce house, there's gonna be at least 1, if not 2 or 3 areas where there's a Velcro flap with a zipper inside of it. You're gonna wanna open that Velcro flap and make sure the zipper is closed, and then re-Velcro it. In most cases, there's gonna be one on the back. Sometimes they're on the side, sometimes they're under the front step. So you're gonna wanna walk around and make sure that you're looking for any areas that have a Velcro flap. We're gonna go ahead and stake the inflatable. We're gonna wanna go ahead and pull at a 45-degree angle, tight. We're gonna wanna put our stake in, and we're also gonna wanna have a slight angle on our stake and have it facing that way, and then we're gonna start pounding it in. So now that your inflatable is all staked, you're ready to inflate. Keep in mind that anytime wind speeds go above 20 miles an hour, you need to not have a bounce house inflated. That is extremely dangerous. You do not want to mess with wind when you're dealing with inflatables. So a side note, anytime you drive a stake into your yard or do any digging, it's your responsibility as the customer to call Julie. Now, if you don't have enough time to call Julie, or if you're setting up your bounce house on asphalt or a hard surface, you can use a sandbag. You're gonna wanna talk to one of our customer service reps about adding 4 sandbags or 6 sandbags, whatever your bounce house requires, to your order. And to hook that up, you're just gonna go ahead and use this carabiner and hook it to the strap instead of staking it, and just pull your sandbag tight. The last thing you're gonna do before you inflate is you're gonna hook your trunk up to your blower. So you're gonna do that by just sliding it over. There's a lip here, you're gonna wanna make sure you go past that lip, and you're gonna wanna wrap the strap around, and there's gonna be a hook or a tie. You're gonna wanna tighten this up as tight as you can get it to make sure that no air leaks around this trunk. We're gonna go ahead and make sure that our blower is straight so that the air can flow directly into the bounce house. Make sure your trunk is not twisted. There's a simple on-off switch on the front of your blower, and you're gonna go ahead and just turn it on. Now that your bounce house is inflated, you're gonna wanna go around to all the corners, and you're gonna wanna make sure that your strap is still tight. And if it's not, you're gonna wanna go ahead and pull the stake, retighten your strap, and put the stake back in. We were a little too close to an overhead obstruction, so we're gonna go ahead and deflate it, pull the stakes, slide it over, re-stake it, and re-inflate it, because we do not want our bounce house to be touching a tree, just like you see above us. So now, at this point, your kids are gonna be super tired because of all the bonus time that you've had with this bounce house the last couple days. We're ready to deflate it so we can roll it up and take it back. We're gonna go ahead and turn the blower off, and we're gonna unhook both trunks to let air escape, as well as unvelcro and unzip the middle flap, and deflate all the air out so that it lays perfectly flat on the ground. Now that our bounce house is deflated, we're gonna go ahead and unstake it. So your first stake is always gonna be your hardest. You're gonna wanna go ahead and pull your stake out with your hammer, just like that. Now, once you have your first stake out, you can take your first stake around and you can put it through your loop and pull up and pull up and pull your stake out. In a lot of cases, that's a lot easier than pulling your first stake with your hammer. Now that we're unstaked, we're ready to fold our bounce house and re-roll it. You're gonna wanna go ahead and make sure you remember back to when you set it up on which way you unfolded it. So we're gonna go ahead and refold the first flap, and you're gonna wanna walk back and forth, make sure all the air has escaped, and then you will go ahead and fold the other area on top of that. Make sure it's nice and tight and square. You'll walk that back and forth, make sure all the air has escaped, and then you'll be ready to start rolling your bounce house. All right, now that our bounce house is all folded up and all the air is out of it, we've walked that all out, we're ready to roll this up. It's nice and square and ready to roll. Let's go ahead and get started. Biggest thing on this step to keep an eye on is the tighter you can roll the bounce house at the very beginning, the smaller the entire thing is gonna be when you're done rolling. Jump online and pick out your bounce house at PeoriaRentals.com.